Good afternoon. Today is Wednesday, July 1st, 2026. You're listening to Cyber FM. I'm your host, Arius Thomas, and this is today's Cybersecurity Report, being brought to you by the RSSH Delivery Company, New York's exclusive delivery option.
Yeah, what's all the hoopla going on over there?
Two geniuses climbed to the top of the Empire State Building, the top of the spire.
Oh, that's awesome. It's a little hot for that, isn't it?
It's just the beginning of this week.
It's not some worker changing a light, is it?
Nah, it's a male, female, dressed in black. They had some flag they were waving when they were up at the top. And he just proposed to her.
You're listening to Cyber FM, hosted by Arius Thomas.
Welcome to Cyber FM. I'm your host, Arius Thomas, and I'm glad that you're here. Today is Wednesday, July 1st, 2026, and this show is dedicated to reporting on cyber warfare, the daily battles being fought over your data, your money, and your machines. So here's what's on today's show. We have a decades-old shell trick that walks straight past the safety checks built into AI coding assistance developers trust within their own machines. A crypto stealer browser extension disguised as a harmless notes app hiding its command post inside the blockchain itself. A brand new botnet rewriting itself in real time to hijack routers and cameras for massive denial of service floods. And a fresh threat report on the World Cup, revealing that the third of the official tournament partners can't even stop criminals from spoofing their own email. Shell tricks, hidden wallets, hijacked software, and a global stage for fraud. 4 battles, 1 front. Let's begin.
Story number 1, the guard that isn't there. AI coding agents fall to a 3-0 YEAROLD trick.
We open today on a story that should never worry every developer leaning on an AI assistant to write and run code. Researchers at Adversa AI have uncovered a structural flaw they're calling guard flaw. And it means the safety checks meant to stop an AI coding agent from running a dangerous command can be walked straight past using a shell trick that's been public for decades. So let me lay out the mechanics here. Because this is a case of old tricks meeting new tools, most of these agents try to stay safe by checking each command against a blacklist of dangerous patterns before running it. The problem is that a guard inspects raw text, while the actual system shell, bash, expands, unquotes, and rewrites that text before it never runs. Tricks like quote removal and unusual spacing tricks let an attacker's command sail through the filter looking harmless, then unfold onto something dangerous the moment bash gets its hands on it. Adversa tested 11 popular open source coding agents, including well-known names in the space. 10 of them left the gap open in one of 4 different ways. Only one had actually been built to defend against it. And here's why it matters beyond the terminal window. These agents typically run with developers' full account authority, their SSH keys, their cloud credentials, everything sitting in their home folder. If an engineer points a vulnerable agent at a poisoned README file or malicious code repository, the agent can be tricked into silently executing commands that exfiltrate credentials or wipe out entire development environments, especially in automated pipelines where auto-approved settings are the default. Open a folder, review a file, ask the assistant for help, and the trap can already be sprung. So here's the takeaway, especially for developers and engineering teams using AI coding tools. Don't assume a built-in safety filter is actually catching what it claims to catch. Verify how your specific tool handles such command construction, and where possible, avoid auto-yes or auto-approve modes, especially in automated build environments. Treat any repository you didn't write yourself as untrusted until reviewed. And the broader lesson for this new era of cyber warfare, the smartest AI assistant in the world is just talking to a very old, very literal-minded shell underneath. And that shell has 30 years of tricks nobody patched out.
Story number 2, the notes app that steals your crypto, silent swap, and the blockchain dead drop.
Story number 2 takes us back into the blockchain underworld we've talked about before the show. Except this time, the target isn't a developer's laptop. It's anyone with a cryptocurrency wallet and a web browser. Researchers at McAfee have uncovered an active campaign called Silent Swap, and it's a masterclass in disguise. Here's how it works. The attacker arrives through unsigned installers, posing as ordinary software. Once run, the installer forcibly closes any Chromium-based browser it finds, Chrome, or Edge, or Brave, or Opera, and secretly injects a malicious browser extension by directly editing the browser's own protected settings files, the ones meant to detect unauthorized tampering. The extension that gets planted disguises itself as a harmless little tool called Google Notes. It even works. You can type notes in it and nothing looks wrong. But behind the scenes, it quietly requests access to your clipboard, your browser history, and every website you visit. And now the payoff for the attacker. The extension is what's called a crypto clipper. It watches your clipboard, and the moment it detects a cryptocurrency wallet address that you've copied to paste into a transaction, it silently swaps it out for the attacker's own wallet address before you paste it. Because blockchain transactions are permanent and reversible, a single unnoticed swap can mean your funds are gone for good, sent straight to a criminal, with no way to claw them back. And just like a story we've covered recently, this campaign hides its command and control instructions inside the blockchain itself, a technique researchers call a dead drop resolver, making the criminal infrastructure nearly impossible to shut down. So here's the takeaway, and it applies to anyone who's ever copied and pasted a wallet address. Before you confirm any cryptocurrency transaction, manually check the first and last several characters of the destination address against your original source, ideally comparing it on a second device. Only install browser extensions from an official Chrome web store, Edge add-on store, or equivalent, never from a random installer. And take a hard look at any extension already sitting in your browser that's asking for access to your clipboard or every website you visit, especially if you don't remember installing it. In this war, your eyes on the actual address are the last line of defense the criminals can't automate around.
Story number 3. A botnet learning new tricks. RustDuck hijacks routers and cameras.
Story number 3 is about a new entrant in a very crowded and dangerous field. Botnets built to knock the internet offline. Researchers at QAnon's X Lab have been tracking a malware family called RustDuck since February. And while it isn't the biggest denial of service botnet out there today, they say its speed of evolution is what deserves everyone's attention. Let's start with what it targets and how it gets in. RustDuck hijacks home routers, IP cameras, Android setup boxes, and poorly secured servers, spreads a mix of old and new weaknesses at them in hopes one sticks. It guesses weak or default passwords on remote login services like Telnet and SSH. It hits exposed Android debugging interfaces, and it exploits a pile of years old, well-documented vulnerabilities in gear from manufacturers including TVT, Ruhi, TP-Link, and ZTE. Bugs that have simply never been patched on the devices sitting in people's homes and offices right now. Here's what makes it genuinely worth watching though. RustDuck is in the middle of being completely rewritten from the C programming language into Rust, and each new version shows meaningful, more sophisticated encryption, evasion, and command and control design. The newer samples actually check whether they've landed inside a securities researcher's lab, scanning for analysis tools, debuggers, and virtual machines. And if the risk crosses the threshold, the malware erases its own tracks and quits before anyone can study it. Its traffic is encrypted with modern ciphers, the keys rotate every 10 minutes, and the whole thing is disguised to look like ordinary web browsing. The end goal, once enough devices are hijacked, is a distributed denial of service attack, which is flooding a target with junk traffic until it collapses under the weight. So here's the takeaway, and it's a basic one that bears constant repeating because it never stops working for the attackers. Change the default password on every router, camera, and smart device in your home or office. Today, right now, not someday or later. Keep firmware updated because RustDuck is living almost entirely off flaws that already have patches available. And if a device doesn't need remote access enabled, turn it off, please. The broader lesson here is a botnet doesn't need to be the biggest one of the world to be dangerous. It just needs to be getting smarter, faster than the devices it's feeding on are getting patched.
Story number 4. 1/3 of the team left the door unlocked. The World Cup fraud report.
And our fourth and final story today brings the cyber war to the biggest stage. With the FIFA World Cup now underway across the United States, Canada, and Mexico, Checkpoint Research has published a new cyber threat report on the tournament, and the numbers on fraud infrastructure are staggering. let's start with a gap that should alarm every sponsor and partner involved. Pre-tournament research by Proofpoint cited in the report found that more than 1/3 of official FIFA World Cup 2026 partners lacked sufficient email authentication protections to stop domain spoofing. In plain terms, attackers can send an email that appears to come from a sponsor, a vendor, or a logistics partner, and there is no technical barrier standing in the way. When a third of the team leaves the same door unlocked, the whole stadium is exposed, and fraud isn't waiting for the kickoff whistle to blow. Checkpoint tracked monthly registrations of world-themed lookalike domains aimed at travel and hospitality brands and found the numbers accelerating sharply in the 2 months before the tournament began, with hotel and lodging brands and travel and tour brands making up the overwhelmingly majority of the impersonation targets. A small handful of cheap domain registers host well over half of this fraudulent infrastructure, and one bargain basement domain extension favored by the scammer accounts for over a quarter of the registrations. Separately, researchers found a coordinated wave of fake sportsbook betting apps flooding Google Play in the weeks before the tournament, roughly 60 times the normal baseline rate, with several developer accounts publishing lookalike apps for multiple gambling brands within hours of each other. So why should this matter if you're not a sponsor or a betting company? Because you're the audience these fake sites and apps are built for. The fans searching for the tickets, the hotel rooms, or a live stream link at the exact moment your guard is down because you're excited about the game. So here's the takeaway. Only book tickets, hospitality packages, and travel through official FIFA and host city channels. Never through a link in an ad, a social post, or a message from a stranger. Type the official web address in yourself rather than clicking through search results. Only download betting or streaming apps from the official app stores and check the developer name carefully. And the universal lesson for this one, a mega event doesn't just create excitement. It creates a temporary economy, and criminals built the storefronts for that economy months the first match was ever played. Today's episode is brought to you by the RSSH Delivery Company, New York's exclusive delivery option. When your package has to get across the city quickly, safely, and in good hands, the RSSH is the name to know. They are New York's exclusive choice and the gold standard in delivery. Every single time you hear us on air, remember the RSSH Delivery Company is the reason why we're here. When it has to get there right, there's only one name to call. And that's our show for this Wednesday, July 1st. Let's bring the front lines together. Today's 4 battles all carry the same hard truth. The enemy is exploiting the gap between what a system is supposed to check and what it actually checks. We talked about a shell trick that slips past an AI agent's safety filter, a notes app that's secretly watching your clipboard for wallet address to steal, a botnet that rewrites itself faster than defenders can study it, and a global tournament where a third of the partners left email spoofing wide open. The thread running through all of it? The checkpoint you trust is only as good as what it's actually built to catch. And the criminals are professionals at finding exactly who got left out. Dang. So this week, verify your AR tools aren't running on blind trust. Check any wallet address twice before you paste it. Update the passwords on your routers and cameras. And book your World Cup tickets only through official channels. In this war, your suspicion is your armor. This has been Cyber FM. I'm your host, Arius Thomas, and this show was brought to you by the RSSH Delivery Company, New York's exclusive delivery option. Stay sharp, stay patched, stay secure. We'll catch you next time.